Good evening, YouTube. I'm gonna give you a little showcase of part of my collection tonight. One thing I've always been a fan of, and I've been collecting for a while, is cards of old Negro League players. So I'm trying to get as many playing day cards of Negro League players from the past. Obviously, they're not cards from the Negro Leagues. These are all guys who signed in the major leagues and post-major league players who did play in the Negro League. So, further ado, I'll give you my Negro League collection. First of all, I'm going to go through the known ones, Hall of Famers you're probably aware of, who also played in the Negro League, such as Ernie Banks, 1970 tops. This is one of the higher numbers, number 630. Of course, there's Hank Aaron, a 68 tops card of him. He's, I believe, the last active player in the Major League history to have played in the Negro Leagues, retiring at the end of the 76 season, I believe. Of course, there's Jackie. Gotta have Jackie Robinson in your collection. 54 tops. Monty Irvin, 53 Bowman color. Most beautiful sets from the 50s. A little off-center, but it's a great card. There's Willie Mays. Larry Doby, the first American leaguer. 58 tops of the Indians. And my last Hall of Famer, Roy Campanella, 55 Bowman. Other ones of note: Stars should be Hall of Famer Minnie Minoso, 60 tops. Then there's Don Newcomb, 58 tops. Joe Black, 54 tops. Elston Howard, New York Yankees. He's the first black to play with the New York Yankees. Junior Gilliam of the Dodgers, 59 tops. 50 Bowman, I believe there's 50. Yeah, 50 Bowman. Sam Jethro, Sam the Jet Jethro, won Rookie of the Year with National League when he came in the league. Speedy outfielder. It's interesting when people talk about debate if when these Japanese players come over U.S. if they should be a Rookie of the Year candidates like Hideo Nomo and Matsui's and Ichiro and Otani, who are all but they were established stars in Japan. But people forget that the Negro League stars when they first came to the U.S. and the major leagues, they were established professionals in their leagues, and they were awarded Rookies of the Year like Jethro, Don Newcomb, Jackie Robinson. They were Rookie of the Year award winners, but people kind of forget that a lot of Negro Leaguers to be Rookie of the Year as Japanese, I think, would be too, as they one and the same, but people never use that in argument whatsoever. My 51 tops, Luke Easter. This is the red back. He was a big, powerful hitting first baseman the Indians signed. His home runs were called Easter eggs. He ended up getting bad legs, bad knees, so kind of ended his career a little short, but he was a very feared power hitter when he came to the major leagues. '50 tops, Hank Thompson. He initially debuted late in '47 with the St. Louis Browns with Willard Brown. Weeks after Doby debuted with the Indians in the American League, neither stuck very long with the Browns. Went both in the Negro Leagues, and Thompson came back with the Giants. And Thompson, Monty Irvin, and Willie Mays, the first time I ever had 3 black players playing the same outfield together. Which is kind of cool. Trivia question: who was the first black pitcher in Major League history? Nope, not Satchel Paige. No, not Joe Black. Nope, not Newcomb. It's actually Dan Bankhead. He had control problems, so he didn't stick very long with the Dodgers, but he has a significance of being the first Negro League pitcher in Major League Baseball history. First black to play for the Cincinnati Reds, Bob Thurman. He only played for a few years with the Reds. He was a legend in the Puerto Rican Winter Leagues. He's in their Hall of Fame. This is 1957 Topps Bob Thurman. The Red Legs, they were called the Red Legs, were the late 50s during the McCarthyism. The thing about baseball is they have a rich history. You learn about, if you just learn your American history of baseball, you learn some American history too, how it correlates with each other. You learn about McCarthyism through baseball a little bit, or and vice versa. 59 Topps last year card of Connie Johnson. He's a pitcher for the Orioles, the White Sox. Played several years in the Negro Leagues. I don't know all the bio on him. This is a little bit of an old style oddball card. 54 Dan D. Potato chip regional card with Kurt Roberts, first black player in the Pirates history, paved the way for Roberto Clemente. This is not the best of shapes, but it's a beautiful card from the 50s, something Blue Jacket talked about in one of his videos. Interesting about this card, I noticed, this is like the Topps and Bowman never mentions Negro League's time and all these players. They always mention minor leagues and stuff like that, but actually back here it says first Negro League player to play for the Pirates. But you never see anything like that at all, hardly in any of the old Topps cards. A couple old oddballs. 1953 Mother's Cookies of the Oakland Oaks of Piper Davis. He signed with the Red Sox, but never made it to the majors. Obviously, the Red Sox was, if you know your Negro League history, Red Sox was the last team to integrate with Pumpsie Green in the mid to late 50s. Pumpsie Green never played in the Negro Leagues, but the Red Sox were the last to integrate. And Piper signed with them earlier, but never made it to the major leagues. The back zone. Nice looking old card. Think about some of these guys who integrated. As soon as some of these like Robinson, Adobe, and others who integrated, you think as all of a sudden they became successful, became peaches and cream for the rest of the players, but they were still had to go through a lot of segregation and got a lot of trouble, fans and everything. And the teams who did have Negro League players had sort of like their own little quota of players. Like I can't have more than 3 or 4 on a ball club, so you had to be really a great player. Some of these just to stick around. You had to be like maybe twice as good as some of the white players just to stick around, because the owners didn't want that many Negro League players, so they can alienate some of the fans. Like if you have too many players in the white fans, like I don't want this team anymore. They got too many black players on the team. So it was. I had a little bit of always for the longest time they still had things they had to go through. So you had to be really, really good players to make it in the major leagues, not just a good players like the white counterpart. My last one tonight is from the 1949 Remar Bread, also of the Oakland Oaks, of Artie Wilson. He had a cup of coffee with the New York Giants, like 1951 or so. Oakland Oaks is of the old Pacific Coast League. Back in the day, if you know your baseball history, this is the minor leagues where Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams once played before they made it in the major leagues, the Pacific Coast League. This Oakland Oaks set also features Billy Martin, the longtime Yankee player and manager, is also was part of this set. He was a teammate with Artie Wilson with the Oakland Oaks. There you have it. That's my Negro League collection. Obviously, the biggest one I'm missing is Satchel Paige. One of these days I'll get that. And there's a few other minor players in there. I have I don't mind getting. I got one coming in next week. I'll show you that when I get to you. But that's my Negro League Playing Days collection. Hope you liked and have a good evening.